worked, oh my, we worked so hard. We would be in the office 7:30, 8 o'clock in the morning. If we were lucky, we ate dinner at 10:30 or 11 o'clock at night.
It's a 24-hour, 7-day-a-week challenge, and there's no letting up. The world is constantly looking for leadership from the White House and reactions from the White House, and we know we only have a set amount of time that we're here and want to make the absolute best of it.
Wall Street has to make some changes because they have to recruit and retain. The White House is small. You only work there for a while. They're not trying to figure out how to make the woman through so that when she makes partner in the law firm, she's going to pay you back for 15, they have to do those things. White House doesn't. You're there, give it all up, everybody else is giving it all up.
I called two of the gals, there aren't many of us left now from that era, to say I was going to do this, and I said, what would be your impression? And the first one said, well, they were very respectful of us, they were very nice. And the other one immediately said, subservient. Even if a young man came in, we were subservient. I said, well, that's about it.
There might be reason for people to assume that the Bush White House was some old boys network, but if anybody actually looks, you don't even have to look deep. I mean, there were senior women all across, and that was because of President Bush's belief that he needed to have diversity in the White House.
I get frustrated that too often the women who are assertive and do have a point of view, are considered bossy and are considered difficult. That's still a huge problem.
Early on, when I heard some concerns from some of the women about whether or not their voices were being heard, I shared it with the president, and he said, well, you know what, let's all have dinner. And so he took all of the senior women in the White House out to dinner in the old family dining room at the White House, and he went around the room and he said, just talk to me and tell me what your issues are and tell me what your concerns are and help me understand how we could do it better. And then at the end of the dinner, he said, look, I want you all to continue to talk to Valerie, and if you ever want to come back and talk to me again, my door is always open.
You can't be shy. I don't think I ever was. And I've been known to give my opinion. But you have to have a sense of humor, too. That helps with anything.
Women, in the same way they don't like to ask for more money, I don't like to ask to be in a room. Like, if you don't need me, like all my friends are like, if you don't want to manifest me, don't manifest me. Like, your loss, not mine. Whereas like the men will get in the room.
When I became the deputy press secretary to Tony Snow, I did the senior staff meetings. Josh Bolton was the chief of staff. And in the conference room, in the Roosevelt room, there's a big long table. And he would sit at the narrow end. And then he would put Candy Wolf, who ran legislative affairs, at one end, and me on the other end. And she and I would start senior staff meeting. And the reason he said is because those are the two people with the most information, and they have the toughest jobs, and they need our support. So that's why they started with us.
My situation at the White House was hilarious. I mean, I would walk out the door at 6 o'clock almost every night. I had my whole situation over-rotated, so the kids, everybody napped late. And then from 6:30 to 10 o'clock, you're probably gonna send child services. I played with those kids, right? And then at 10 o'clock, the emails came again, and I was up all night, and that worked for me.
Paulette is one of my deputies. She runs the Office of Public Engagement, and she came to me actually before she even got pregnant and said, I'm thinking about having a baby, and I realized I might have to leave. And I said to her, we're going to figure out how to make it work for you. And I promise you that we will solve this, and you'll be able to be a fulfilled mother, and you'll also be able to continue to make this important contribution that you're making here. And so I think part of the strategy that we employ here is that you have to talk to your folks, and you have to find out what's going on in their lives, and you have to give them constant assurance that it's going to be okay.
I have had the most spectacular list of mentors, sponsors, call it what you want, and they have almost all been men. So one of the things I've sort of tried to do with younger women that I know is the opposite, is make sure like I'm pointing to them.
Condi Rice is a good example of a mentor where it wasn't a formalized relationship, but I remember one time being in the Situation Room and I was listening to everybody, and I didn't really speak up because I didn't need to. I was just there to observe. I was going to have to answer some questions. And I remember we left there and she said, I'll walk with you. And we walked back to the press secretary's office, and she said, here's how I might say it.
You know, one of the most amazing, I mean, just couldn't have asked for a better way to get grounded into the workforce, and lifelong friends and lifelong mentors. And it was fantastic. And I think I carried that confidence with me.
You have this extraordinary opportunity to work in the White House. Make the best of it and don't let anybody get in your way. And I think that over time that has contributed mightily to the culture, and not just me, but all of the women who are in senior positions here.